Battle of Undefeated Saturday in the shoe as Toledo takes on the Ohio State Buckeyes. We welcome in Mike Robinson, the sideline reporter on the Toledo Rocket Radio Network. Mike Rob, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.
What we saw last Saturday against UMass, that was the type of performance I think we all expected for the Rockets against Long Island. Is that the difference between week one and week two?
Absolutely. You know, you saw how slow the Rockets started trying to figure things out. Long Island, they came out with a freaky defense, you know, doing different things that the Rockets weren't used to. But as soon as they caught on, they handled them properly. Obviously, you saw the score was a blowout, right? With UMass, they started a little bit faster. They got their bearings. And also, they looked a little bit more confident in converting early on fourth down.
Part of that reason for that fast start was the rushing attack led by Penny Boone, the transfer from Maryland. Now, he went to high school with Daquan Finn, so there is some chemistry there already, and he can add another element to that rushing attack.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Micah Kelly, you got Jacquez Stewart, Penny Boone, and also Willie Shaw. I mean, you got a plethora of guys in that backfield that can work the football for you and get things done. And you also look at DQ. I mean, he's also another running back. So this running game for Toledo in the backfield is as good as it gets.
Did you see the offensive line starting to mesh in that win over UMass?
Yeah, absolutely. And you also got to see some younger guys starting to get in, you know, guys like Carter Foudy, Central Catholic kid getting in, and down the line guys. So you're starting to see where they can get some depth at and where they can get some help. One guy that I really liked was Devin Rogers coming in, giving a nice boost at the center spot, being very physical and aggressive. But for that starting unit, I think they handled their business pretty well.
As they head down to the shoe, Ohio State, 105,000 will be there. It won't be an intimidating place for the Rockets. Of course, they played in South Bend last year. Obviously, Dallas Gant played several games at the shoe. Devin Maddox played a college or a high school state championship game in Ohio Stadium. So they've got some experience in that type of setting, so there's no reason to think they'll be intimidated.
No, not at all. I mean, and if you go back to 2011 when the Rockets played at the shoe, you saw they got the job done. They lost only by a few points, and they could have won that game. A lot of people feel like the referees kind of screwed the Rockets over. But, you know, that's always the situation, right? Always
11 years later, no one's thought about it again.
But, you know, what I really like is if the Rockets can get done what Austin Danton did and take a page out of the book that they did, throwing the ball to short passes, get the ball out your hand quick, and just get the plays underneath. How'd they beat Michigan? They got it to Lance Moore. Small plays underneath. He had about 20-something catches, broke a record, and you can beat these teams. You just can't think they get the big plays. Dink and dunk a team 5 to 6 yards, maybe even 3 to 4 yards. You need 3 plays to get a first down. Take your time and be consistent on offense. And I think the Rockets can play this game because the defense is good.
Ryan Day, very complimentary to Jason Candle and the entire Toledo program. Defensive coordinator Jim Knowles talked about Daquan Finn, said he can beat you with his feet. He's capable of making any throw. So certainly Ohio State's aware of what the Rockets offensively could do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Rockets got to be aware of what the defense is going to do. They're going to come with some pressure, and they're going to play, you know, man-to-man very tough, and they're going to bring blitzes off the edge. The offensive lines are going to have to, you know, be ready for it, and they're going to have to use those guys like Turner and Torres to be able to block and help DQ be able to have a little bit more time. So you might see some more max protection coming out the Rockets offense, but they also have to be effective in the run game, and they got to average at least 3 yards per carry.
The Ohio State defense has only allowed 1 touchdown this season. The Toledo Rocket defense has only allowed 1 touchdown this season. So let's talk about when the Buckeyes have the ball. We know how good the front seven is for UT. Are they going to be able to get pressure on C.J. Stroud, or will Stroud have enough time to pick apart a secondary that maybe is a weak spot in that UT defense?
I mean, if there's a weak spot, it's the receivers for, you know, Ohio State. That's not even a weak spot for them. They're really good there as well. But up front, the Rockets are going to have to really gum up the run. I think you're going to see a lot of Ohio State running the play-action game like they do. They like to get in the pistol, and they like to pound you. They got 2 fantastic running backs that can do the job. But for Jamal Hines, this is going to be a signature game for him. Dallas Gant, signature game. These are guys that's going to have to really step up and play really good football because they know what's at stake here. They don't have to let this game get out of hand. They don't have to give up the big play. They just have to maintain the expectations. We're not going in here thinking we're going to go beat the national champs. You got to go in here and just play one down at a time. And I think if the Rockets take that approach, they're going to be okay because the one other person on that defense that can really step up and make a lot of plays, and he's going to be called on, is Maxon Hook. They're going to need him to step up and make a lot of tackles, but also be disciplined in the secondary.
Third straight primetime game for the Toledo Rockets. In fact, this will be the first time in UT history they will play a game on a nationally televised over-the-air signal. They've had cable games nationally televised. First time broadcast national game for the Toledo Rockets as they take on Ohio State. Mike Robb, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.